He attacks the Amuga's head with magic, causing it to explode, and he reflects that it worked. After killing the Amugi, he sees the metal pieces start shining and asks if that is the true identity of the Amugi. The metal pieces begin to collect, and he retrieves his sword. He is shocked to see the sword, on which is written Heavenly Demonic Sword. He holds the sword and wonders why the treasured sword, considered the symbol of the Lord of the Heavenly Demonic Cult, is down here. While holding the sword, he notices some black magic string surrounding his hand and asks, "What the hell?" He realizes it's dark. He can't see anything in front of him, nor can he hear anything or even let out his voice. He explains that it's as if he has completely lost all senses in his body, but rather than feeling afraid, it feels far too comfortable. He opens his eyes and realizes no. He transforms into a white place and thinks he almost lost himself, getting engulfed by the darkness. He calls Nano and instructs it to answer him. Suddenly, a white Amugi emerges from the water to attack him. He sees it and realizes there is another one. The Amugi roars and its horns become bigger. He observes the changes and thinks its horns are getting longer, and its body is growing larger as if it is metamorphosing into a dragon. He prepares to attack, but someone arrives, attacks, and cuts the Amuga's horn. He is surprised to see its horns and thinks the white scales of the Amugi are turning black. He notices the strange person and wonders who is the one that just cut off the Amuga's horns. The strange person comes in front of him and points his sword toward him. He sees the sword and contemplates Sword Kai's manifestation and that black sword. The Amugi moves to attack again, but the strange person counterattacks with his power and cuts it. Chin Yo-woon is shocked to see his techniques and thinks about the third technique of the heavenly demonic sword art. He believes his version of it can't even hold a candle to his. He pushes his sword into the Amugi, which starts absorbing power. He remarks that it will take quite a while for all its energy to be absorbed and guesses it was not meant to be his. Chen Yo-woon observes the person and realizes it is his future version, surprised to see him. He returns to the cave, his face covered with blood, and he coughs. The nano machine asks if he is okay. He replies that he thinks he accidentally swallowed a few gulps of this black liquid, and it's so disgusting. He asks how long it has been since he lost consciousness. The nano machine notifies him that he did not lose consciousness. Rather, he collapsed for a moment after grabbing the sword. He says it felt like he was in a trance for quite a long time and asks how long it has been since he entered the cave. The nano machine notifies him that it's been slightly less than an hour. He expresses relief, saying thank goodness, so it really was only for a brief moment, and asks if his collapsing for a short second was the only thing that happened. The nano machine notifies him that this is incorrect. When he grabs the sword, the dark plasmic energy enters his body. In that short instance, the nerve cells of his brain were stimulated 100% for a moment, and then the dark plasmic energy he absorbed became one with the Kai inside his body. He inquires about how it became one with his Kai and remarks that, no wonder, he thought he felt some sinister demonic energy inside him. He asks how his Kai changed so much, and if it is an effect of that black sword. He states, now that he thinks about it, the black sword that he grabbed before. Before he can complete his sentence, he notices his hands are also covered in black liquid and asks, what the hell, and why is it around his wrists? Meanwhile, at the Seal Demon Cave exit, Yo-soon stands with Lim Pyon and remarks that this is strange. For someone who has reached the prowess of a grandmaster, it should not even take an hour. Lim Pyon points out that it's almost been 2 hours. Could there have been an accident? Ho Jin Chang reflects on the fact that a cave known to have a demon sealed inside it is the place where the 5th test has been conducted since the Sword Lord founded the Demonic Academy. However, he has heard that this used to be a place where only people who had the qualification could enter. He wonders if it is possible for Chin Yo-woon to come back alive. After a while, the cave exit door opens and Chin Yo-woon comes out holding the Amugi horn and covered in black liquid. Ho Jin Chang wonders about the terrible stench and congratulates him on passing the 5th test. Chin Yo-woon thanks him. Ho Jin Chang covers his nose due to the smell, sees the horn in his hand, and thinks it looks like an underdeveloped deer antler. After a while, Chin Yo-woon sits in the bathtub, feeling relief as he observes a bracelet on his wrist. He thinks he has finally gotten rid of that stench and realizes he has been bathing for almost an hour. He observes the horn strangely. The scene shifts back to the cave where Chin Yo-woon, covered all around with black plasmic energy, attacks a wall and breaks it into pieces. As he moves forward, he reflects that it's already impressive that this black sword can endure the heavenly demonic sword art. Not only can this sword cut the sapphire with ease, but paired with Kai's manifestation, it is actually terrifying. He notices the black plasmic energy around himself and observes a bracelet on his wrist. He thinks that it does not budge at all from Kai or physical force. It only reacts to the demonic energy fused with his Kai. Since earlier, his body has been feeling hotter and sweatier. The nano machine notifies that the thick, viscous liquid that entered his body has circulated within his blood vessels, causing the minuscule amount of toxins initially left inside his body to be expelled. He reflects that almost all the toxins within his body should have been expelled when he reached the prowess of a grandmaster and attained a cleansed body. Therefore, this liquid has the effect of expelling even the tiniest amount of toxin inside one's body. He states that now that he thinks about it, this dark liquid is the Amuga's blood, and it might help his subordinates a lot if he gives it to them. He starts to pour it into a bottle and thinks he will have to take some. Suddenly, he feels an earthquake and everything starts to shatter. He asks what's going on. A big rock falls near him, and he remarks that it was close. He moves and comments that he was able to secure enough to give to his subordinates by using the scabbard, but what a shame. That was enough liquid to increase the martial force of the entire cult. He notices the broken horn of the Amuti. The scene shifts back to the present as he holds the horn and thinks, this is definitely the horn of the Amugi that the man in his vision sliced off, and he picked it up. He ponders what he could possibly use this for and considers that maybe it could raise his Kai if he boils it and eats it. He applies his energy to it and instructs Nano to analyze the horn. The nano machine confirms that it understands, stating that the analysis has shown that it is composed of material not within the program's data. However, it notes that this object possesses a hardness of just slightly less than the toughest diamond. He asks if he is being told that it's even harder than sapphire and considers that he will have to test it out with his Kai sword while moving to attack it. He is surprised to see and thinks he does not believe this. It's more than just unscratched, there's actually a weird force repelling his Kai sword. He wonders if it is because it's the horn of a spiritual beast. He holds it and thinks since it's able to handle the heavenly demonic sword art and the butterfly dance, he could use this to make a sword or a blade. It is extremely hard, but he is sure the descendant of the legendary blacksmith Uyezi can probably do something about it. After a while, at 4 p.m. in the Demonic Academy's main building director's office, Lee HWA Mind sits and thinks it's only been 4 hours, so how in the world has his energy increased so much? He reflects that's not the only thing. He's handling it well, but he can sense an odd demonic energy from him. He wonders if that means that Instructor Ho is right, and he thinks it is merely a legend. He recalls that first was that sword technique, and now this radiates demonic energy. Ho Jin Chang interrupts his thinking and calls him. He apologizes, addressing him as Squad Leader Chin, then corrects himself, stating that he needs to call him Brigade Leader Chin from now on. He congratulates Chin Yo Woon on passing the 5th test, acknowledging that he has become a true, proud martial arts master of their cult and presents him with a brigade and a dagger. Chin Yo Woon expresses his gratitude and holds the dagger. Ho Jin Chang explains that it is a dagger made from black iron given to the brigade leader of their cult. Chin Yo Woon sees the inscription on the dagger that reads Heavenly Demonic Cult and thinks he can feel Kai from within this engraving. It seems like it was not a craftsman but a sword master who engraved it. Ho Jin Chang adds that the engraving was personally done by the Lord, and it is an honorable item presented only to brigade leaders. Chin Yo Woon thinks he'd love to just throw it away, but since everyone is watching him right now, he decides to hold back. He asks if he may now inquire about the 6th test. All instructors look at him surprisingly. Lee HWA Mying states that he is definitely more than qualified for it right now. He reflects on the 6th test, which requires him to be at least a Grandmaster. For his generation to witness it, he's the first candidate in the last 70 years to be qualified for it. He explains that the 6th test is to challenge one of the 12 council elders, the greatest martial arts masters within their cult. Chin Yo Woon is surprised to hear this. Lee HWA Myung asks if there is a specific council elder he would like to challenge. After a while, at the Demonic Academy Precious Library, Chin Yo Woon stands outside and reflects that for the 6th test to actually be a ticket to challenge one of the 12 council elders, the fight against the 6 main clans was going to start as soon as the Demonic Academy was over. He considers that he has basically been given a chance to eliminate one of their top brass before that. Taking gains and losses into account, in order to fatally take down the 6 main clans in an ideal way, he needs to master the final technique of the heavenly demonic sword art. Meanwhile, Lee Hwa Myung sits inside and reflects that Chin Yo Woon has matured quite a bit. He thought he would immediately pick the head of the Poison Clan because of Lady Hwa. The scene shifts to a flashback, and Lee Hwa Myung asks Chin Yo Woon if he could give him an answer after mulling it over for a bit. He reflects that despite being given a chance to officially challenge the target of his revenge, Chin Yo Woon acted very cautiously. He guesses that Chin Yo Woon is someone too dangerous to challenge just based on the desire for revenge, and the 4-year period of protection provided by the Demonic Academy is almost over. He thinks the 6 main clans might actually bear the claws they have been sharpening first. When that time comes, there is going to be a catastrophic bloodbath within their cult. He ponders how he will solve this problem. The scene shifts to the present, where Chin Yo Woon stands on the 5th floor of the Precious Library and sees a book. He thinks to himself that there are only 20 volumes up here. He recalls a memory when Xiao Ming said to be grateful that he is learning the butterfly dance and the 1,000 martial breathing techniques, which are on the 4th and 5th floor of the library, thanks to him. He thinks, as his master said, it's here on the 5th floor, so he guesses that means he can skip scanning one of the volumes, and it's finally the awaited time. He contemplates the final technique of the heavenly demonic sword art and orders Nano to scan the palm on the front and analyze the Kai control component for him. The Nano machine notifies him that it understands. He moves forward, sees a mark on the wall, and thinks there are no sword marks. He wonders why there's nothing here, questioning if the destruction in sword technique is not here because the heavenly demonic founder left nothing. He asks Nano if there are no other traces left here. The Nano machine notifies him that there is a sword mark on the monolith that was likely left behind by a single person, displaying augmented reality in the user's vision and zooming in on the subject point. He asks what this hole is, considering if it's a technique of the heavenly demonic sword art, and if it's possible to perform a sword technique like this. He wonders about the other side. He observes the other side, sees some writing on it, and thinks he did not notice it because of the poem, but it extends out to the other side, and he wonders how this is even possible. He reflects that it did not even seem like he used that much Kai, and he thinks it was created by the pure force of the sword technique being focused onto a single point before blasting out. He considers that if he had used even a little bit of Kai, the monolith might have shattered. The reason this monolith does not have a destructive sword technique is not because the heavenly demonic sword art went undiscovered, but because the creator of the destructive sword technique could not figure out a way to nullify the technique here with just basic sword movements. He sits, meditating, and reflects on the epiphany of the sword that the heavenly demonic founder achieved in his final years. He ponders that rather than solidifying the sword into one and bringing the intent of the sword technique together, the intent of the sword is the will of the one that is using the sword, and the will coming together into one means. A magical aura appears around him, spreading throughout the whole room as light. An instructor arrives and asks what's going on, shocked to see the magical light filling the room. Another instructor asks what's happening in there. He thinks they are in a safeguard formation. An instructor moves forward, sees Chin Yo Woon, and thinks that it must be the 5 Kai unification, and he never thought he'd see it in person. He explains that when one reaches the prowess of a grandmaster, one attains the energy of heaven, earth, and humanity. This leads to a cleansing of one's body, achieving 3-dimensional alignment. However, this level of grandmaster prowess can be considered half-baked. He believes that only by unifying the 5 types of energy inside one's body through 5 Kai unification can one attain true grandmaster prowess. He continues meditating, and his body starts cracking. An instructor sees him, is shocked, and thinks he is witnessing body reconstruction. Everything in the library starts falling down. The instructors gather around and see him. An instructor says that even though he was radiating so much energy until a moment ago, he can't sense anything anymore. It feels as if he has settled the Kai inside his body properly, and as it stands, even the director might be unable to detect Brigade Leader Chin's energy. Chin Yo Woon opens his eyes. The instructors congratulate him on his great accomplishment. He looks at his hand and realizes he can feel it. He has achieved true grandmaster prowess, and this is the first time he has understood a technique without it being transferred into his brain. He acknowledges that the three of them performed a safeguard formation while he was in a state of realization and thanks them. He observes the destruction of the library and expresses regret, acknowledging that the mess is because of him. The instructor reassures him, stating that the library getting a bit messy is not a big deal considering his great realization. The instructor advises others to be careful when handling those secret martial arts books. Shin asks if they realize how precious of a treasure these books are. Shin Yo-woon, seeing them distracted by the books, believes now is his chance. He places his finger on the wall, thinking it would be best to eliminate the 1 in a million chance of someone learning the heavenly demonic sword art. The instructor states that since there are no problems with the books now, he may proceed to browse them. Shin Yo-woon thanks him. He thinks the first books that Shin Yo-woon scans are martial arts of the 6 main clans: Crazy Spirit Sword of the Sword Clan, Spring Kai Fist of the Spring Clan, Flowing Dark Cloud Palm of the Dark Clan, Destructive Sound Wave of the Sound Clan, Poison Toad Demon Palm of the Poison Clan, and Demonic Phantom Blade of the Blade Clan. He is certain that these are not their most powerful techniques, but it is clear that these are some of the best martial arts in the entire demonic cult. He considers the Crimson Fire Sword technique and concludes that it must be the Left Guardian's martial art. The name suits him. He notices a book titled Step of the Wind God and wonders if it is perhaps a stepping or movement technique rather than a martial art. This seems like good timing since he does not really have an exceptional movement technique. He wonders who donated a movement technique to this place and instructs Nano to scan it. The Nano machine notifies that it understands. The scene shifts to 8 p.m. at Shin Yo-woon's private quarters. Go Wang-hul, along with other subordinates, congratulates him on passing the 5th test and asks if he heard it. Moon-gin also inquires if he heard it. Ho-sang HWA interjects, saying there's no way monsters actually exist. Woo So-young questions if he actually has something he is scared of and asserts that they are massive enough to defeat a monster themselves. Moon Jae-yu contemplates that it would cause a scene if she were to tell them she found something similar. Go Wang-hul finds Ho-sang HWA to be so cute. Shin Yo-woon holds a bucket of Imugi blood and explains that the reason he gathered them all here today is because of this. They all cover their noses due to the smell. Ya Woo-min asks what kind of rotten stench this is. Go Wang-hul wonders what in the world this is. Shin Yo-woon thinks it will be hard to explain if he says that it's the blood of the spiritual beast Imugi, so he states that it's something he happened to come across after making a wrong turn while traversing the sealed demon cave. Ya Woo-min inquires about what is inside the sealed demon cave. Oh-jong asks why he brought it. Shin Yo-woon smiles and tells everyone to drink up. Ya Woo-min requests to be excused. He explains that he ended up accidentally drinking it, but it got rid of all the toxins within his blood vessels, improving his flow of Kai. He thought it would be a shame if only he got to drink it, so he brought some by putting it inside his blade's sheath. Ya Woo-min sees the blood and thinks that to outright drink, it is a nope, no can do. Hyo-bong asks how they can all hesitate when their liege is looking after them in such a way and says he shall be the one to drink it first. He puts a cup in the bucket and instructs everyone to move aside. He declares that this bad smell is nothing. Hyo-bong drinks it and thanks his liege. He believes it must not be that bad. Suddenly, he falls down, screaming and holding his neck. Moon Jae-yu asks if he is suggesting that this is an elixir. A few moments later, Hyo-bong's body is surrounded by a magical aura, and he states that it's as Shin Yo-woon said. His body feels refreshed, and the flow of Kai has accelerated. Shin Yo-woon says, see, they think they are screwed. He explains that having seen the effects in person, everyone ended up drinking it, except for Ho-sang HWA, who refused profusely, and Moon Jae-yu, who was concerned about her mask. The scene shifts to the north side of the Demonic Academy Smith, where Uyezi attacks an Imuga's horn with his sword, but it breaks. He asks Shin Yo-woon where in the world he found this. Shin Yo-woon says he cannot tell him. Uyezi responds, saying he sees that it does not matter. With such excellent material, he can definitely craft the greatest weapon. He asks if Shin Yo-woon wants him to make a blade with this. Shin Yo-woon replies, yes, please. Uyezi adds that he and O will be provided cold iron as the test reward if he makes a sword with that. Shin Yo-woon asks if he did not say before that he could only request a single weapon. He explains that, unlike squad leaders, brigade leaders can commission weapons anytime, and there is a limit to how much cold iron he will be provided, but there are no issues with materials he sources like this himself. Chin Yo-woon then says he'd like to request a sword as well. He thinks it's good. He should hide this black sword until he figures out why it has a heavenly demonic sword engraved on it, and he needs a sword to substitute it in the meantime. Yezi explains that because of how exceptional the materials are, it will take about a month each to make. He inquired if it would take 2 months, and then if he could request the blade first. Meanwhile, at the Demonic Academy Director's office, Lee Hwa Mang asks if he is truly okay with this. Chin Yo-woon stands before him and affirms that yes, he should go through with it. Lee Hwa Mang thinks to himself that this goes beyond mere boldness. Perhaps Chin Yo-woon is out of his mind. He considers the leader of the Dark Clan and the first among the 12 council elders, Mu Jin-won, who long ago reached the level of a true grandmaster. He is said to rival Marikium, the Grand Guardian, as the second or third strongest in the cult. Lee Hwa Mang speculates that Chin Yo-woon is aiming to eliminate the head of the 6 main clans first, but that target is not someone a newly fledged grandmaster can rival. He realizes that he had thought he had become much wiser in his thinking, but it seems that he's still as rash as ever. He understands, and he shall send an official request to the Dark Clan. He thinks that it seemed like everything had been going as planned, but the flow of the world did not go as they all had wished. 10 days after Chin Yo-woon's request for the 6th test, at the Heavenly Demonic Cult's castle in Shiwon Mountain for the first time in 10 years, an envoy of the Martial Artists Alliance arrives. He thinks it was an incident big enough to cause ripples within the cult, but Chin Yo-woon had no way of knowing that at the Demonic Academy, where he was cut off from the rest of the world. The scene shifts to 7 days before the 6th test. Lee Hwa Mang announces he is here, Brigade Leader Chin. He arrives, looking puzzled, and he asks if something is wrong. Apologetically, Lee Hwa Mang explains that he thinks they will have to change his opponent for the 6th test. Chin inquires why that is, asking if the first council elder changed his mind. Lee Hwa Mang responds that's not it. Chin reflects that he set up a barrier to cut them off from the outside. It must be some sort of secret. Lee Hwa Mang explains that since it's an important matter of the cult, he can't disclose the specifics. However, he mentions that only the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th council elders are currently present in the cult. Chin Yo-woon curses inwardly, realizing that all the high-ranking council elders are not at their posts, so he can't go up against any of the leaders of the 6 main clans. Lee Hwa Mang reflects that he did not want to recommend this and mentions that recently there was a shift in the positions of the council elders and clan leader Beak of the Poison Clan was demoted to the 12th seat. Chin Yo-woon smiles and says he guesses he will have to settle for the next best thing. The scene shifts to the next day at the office of the Poison Clan leader. Beak-o sits with his subordinates and thinks about how bothersome it is. He had thought that the troublemaker would be taken care of by the Dark Clan leader. Beak-o considers Chin Yo-woon to be currently akin to a poisoned glass of alcohol. In the past 3 years, compared to the Poison Clan and Sword Clan, the Dark Clan had gained a lot more ground. So, if the Dark Clan tried to eliminate Chin Yo-woon using the duel as an excuse, the Lord was planning to weaken the influence of the Dark Clan too. Beak-o reflects that the Poison Clan and the other main clans had been waiting for the duel to happen, but the situation changed due to the envoy from the Martial Artists Alliance. A man with long hair asserts that he has to reject it. He has only recently been released from his imprisonment and returned as a council elder, and they are now under the constant scrutiny of the Lord. Beak Cha-woo expresses the same opinion, stating that if they are put under any more pressure, the entire dynamic of the 6 main clans could be broken. Beak Moon-soo interjects, suggesting that if they say no, that's also admitting that their clan has become weak. He points out that their nephew is still bedridden like a crippled retard, and their clan has fallen this low. He asks how they expect them to hold back. A gray-haired man agrees with his big brother. He mentions that Chin Yo-woon is not even 20, yet he has already become a grandmaster. Considering their hostile relationship, they have to eliminate him while they have the chance. Beak Cha-woo adds that it's the same for all the 6 main clans. No matter how great his martial prowess has become, Chin Yo-woon has no forces backing him up, and he is not a threat. The real threat is the Lord. Beak-o intervenes, saying enough. He would also love to kill him right now, but they currently stand to lose too much by eliminating him, and he will reject his request. After a while, Chin Jong-sum lies on the bed in a very bad state. Beak-oh comes there and apologizes, saying he is sorry that he can't do anything as his grandfather. Chin Jong-sum opens his eyes. Just then, a servant informs that he has a guest. Chin Jong-sum asks what kind of a guest comes at this hour and tells him to send them away. The servant communicates telepathically that it's Lady Mu of the Dark Clan and asks if he is sure it's okay to send her away, as she is currently in front of the medicine house. Beak-oh acknowledges, saying he got it, he will be right out, and moves to go out. He opens the door, and Chin Jong-sum sees Lady Mu and recalls some childhood memories. He thinks it's her, the woman who took the micro-poison from his mother. The scene shifts to the next day. Lee Hwa Myung sits holding a letter that arrived at the director's office, accepting the duel for the 6th test. He comments, as expected. The scene shifts to the morning of the 6th test. Chin Yo-woon goes to Blacksmith Gu, who is busy making something. He sees and wonders if he is making the scabbard. After an hour, Blacksmith Gu announces that he has finished. Chin Yo-woon is still standing there and asks if it is done. Startled, Blacksmith Gu says he scared him. Chin Yo-woon holds the sword and thinks it feels really nice to hold. He confirms that Blacksmith Gu inscribed the name he requested. Chin Yo-woon thinks the White Dragon blade is a name befitting of this blade's body. He shows the writing on the blade and instructs him to point the sharp edge of the blade upward, then throw a piece of cloth on it, which is cut easily. Chin Yo-woon thinks it's sharp enough to slice apart fabric with ease. He inquires if it is to his liking. Chin Yo-woon responds affirmatively, saying he didn't think he'd create such a masterful weapon. He is truly a master blacksmith. Blacksmith Gu laughs and remarks his words are too kind. Chin Yo-woon thinks that with this blade, he should be able to produce even greater power for the butterfly dance than his master can with his wild dance blade. He reflects that this was the moment in which the White Dragon blade, one half of the black sword white blade that would come to symbolize him, was complete. The scene shifts to the day of the 6th test at 10 a.m. in the Demonic Academy Grand Martial Arts Training Grounds. Chin Yo-woon stands in the duel ground. The cadets see him, and one whispers that, taking the 6th test, he really is a monster. Another cadet whispers that he can't believe that he managed to achieve Grandmaster prowess during his stay at the Demonic Academy, but wonders if he can really go up against a council elder. The other cadet whispers that he wonders who he picked, maybe one of the members of the 6 main clans. The other cadet states no, he'd have to be really stupid to make such a choice. A cadet whispers that he probably just picked the 12th council elder. The cadets see the director, Lee Hwa Myung, and one inquires who's next to him. The other identifies him as the 9th council elder and clan leader of the Nihility clan, Sa-ma Yui. His son, a descendant of the Nihility clan, Sa-ma Chak, is happy to see his father. Hyo-bong notices Beak-oh's arrival and remarks that he is the leader of the Poison clan. The other cadets are shocked to see him, and one cadet asks if he is a poison user. The other confirms that he is indeed the leader of the Poison clan. He mentions hearing that those who oppose his poison end up with nobody left behind. Lee Hwa Myung states that before the duel begins, they would like to thank the 12th Council Elder for accepting Brigade Leader Chin's challenge. He adds that the 6th test will be officiated by the 9th Council Elder, the leader of the Nihility clan. He thinks to himself that, as expected, he is extremely bitter due to being imprisoned for 2 years because of the events at the detention center. Chin Yo-woon and Beak-oh face each other on the dueling ground. Lee Hwa Myung instructs them to commence. Beak-oh moves to attack him, and Go-wang-hol remarks that the Poison clan leader is rushing him. Hyo-bong comments that it's so underhanded. Chin Yo-woon quickly moves back. Beak-oh thinks about his extreme swiftness. Sa-ma Yui asks if that movement was not the Grand Guardian's. Lee Hwa Myung reflects on whether the Grand Guardian's movement skills are on the 5th floor of the Precious Library. Beak-oh moves to attack him again, but Chin Yo-woon swiftly moves down and thinks to himself that he has the quick judgment, performing a decent copy of extreme swiftness. He anticipates that Beak-oh will start by sealing his feet and attacking him with his power. He sees Beak-oh's magic coming toward him and thinks about the Kai Blast. An explosion occurs on the dueling ground, distracting everyone's vision. Chin Yo-woon jumps up and moves to attack him, while Beak-oh also tries to capture his leg. He grips his sword and considers whether Beak-oh is attempting to seal his mobility by targeting his legs. He employs the butterfly dance, using the second technique, the light butterfly circular movements technique, to attack. Beak-O counters with the demonic kill pulverize and the fifth technique of the destruction staff. All the cadets who are watching the duel cover their ears as a big explosion occurs, and both combatants move back. Beak-O observes his blade and wonders what weapon it is and how such a thin blade is able to dent his black iron staff. He realizes that's not all. Despite being a grandmaster, he expected Chin Yo-woon to lack combat experience, but he fights like a seasoned veteran. He considers whether this guy truly is an inept grandmaster. He has been using 10-star Kai from the start, but the Kai imbued on his blade rivals his own. He realizes that he is not even giving it his all against him, and he has never seen a monster capable of growing as fast as him. He now understands why Lady Mu had said such a thing. The scene shifts to a flashback 6 days before the 6th test when Lady Mu comes to meet Beak-O. Beak-O remarks that telling him to accept the request from the Demonic Academy out of nowhere seems like a breach of authority. He questions whether she thinks it's inappropriate, considering she is the Lord's wife, and she should not have the authority to command him, a council elder and leader of another clan. She responds by saying she knows the whereabouts of the Divine Doctor. Beak-O asks her to elaborate, and she explains that she is sure he has heard of them, referring to the greatest doctor in the Central Plains, capable of healing anyone as long as they are not dead. She believes that the Divine Doctor should be able to heal even his grandson. He states that he already knows that no one knows the whereabouts of the Divine Doctor. She shows him a badge and explains that in the past, her grandfather received this medallion from the Divine Doctor. Her grandfather claimed that he would be able to meet the Doctor if he took this medallion to a certain location. She suggests that he kill him, and if that results in a significant problem, she promises that their dark clan will actively help him out. She thinks that since the future Vice Lord will have been decided with this, it's important. The scene shifts back to the present. Beak-O thinks that's why she selected him over the other council elder and realizes that with this much skill, no one below the third council elder is capable of beating him. He acknowledges that in the worst-case scenario, the 6 main clans might end up facing their greatest enemy, which is why Chin Yo-woon has to die here. He moves to attack, and Chin Yo-woon also prepares to attack with his blade. Lee Hwa Myung and Sa-ma Yui are shocked to see, and Lee Hwa Myung states he is unleashing his poison. Sa-ma Yui inquires what Council Elder Beak is thinking, and if he is actually planning on killing the challenger. Lee Hwa Myung contemplates Chin Yo-woon. Elder Beak screams and spreads poison all around, utilizing the Poison of Destruction 7th level technique. A cadet asks if that's poison. Another cadet wonders how anyone is supposed to defeat a monster like that, and fears he might actually die. Hyobong prays and pleads for his liege to surrender. Elder Beak moves to attack, and Chin Yo-woon also runs to attack him, but he counterattacks with poison. Moon Jae-yu calls out to Master Chin Yo-woon. Elder Beak thinks that should have been enough to melt even his bones and blames himself for being a fool. He is shocked to see Chin Yo-woon safe and sound and tries to attack him again. Chin Yo-woon dodges his punch and says it's his turn now.